Hello, boys and girls. Today we'll be reading A Squiggly Story by Andrew Larson and Mike Lowery. Let's meet our author and illustrator. Remember, the author is the person who writes the story. Andrew Larson is our author. He grew up playing outside, reading a lot, and waking up super early to deliver newspapers. He doesn't have a car. He'd rather walk everywhere. The illustrator is the person who draws the pictures in a story. Our illustrator is Mike Lowery. Mike Lowery really loves art. He travels the country talking to children about it. A squiggly story. A squiggle is a little mark that you write or draw. If something is squiggly, that means it's curly, like a squiggle. A squiggly story. Look at the cover of the book. What do you notice about the cover of the book? You may notice there's a little boy there. He has a pencil in his hand. Do you see the squiggle that he made? What do you think the book may be about? Let's find out. A Squiggly Story by Andrew Larson and Mike Lowery. When we understand the kind of book we are reading, we can understand it better. A fiction story is a made-up story about characters, settings, and events. They usually have a beginning, middle, and end. A squiggly story is a fiction story. Look at our chart. A fiction story is a made-up story about characters, places, and events. A Squiggly Story, written by Andrew Larson, illustrated by Mike Lowery. My sister loves to read big words and little words, page after page, word after word. My sister loves to write big words and little words, page after page, word after word. Sometimes I pretend I can write too. Big letters and little letters, swirl after swirl, squiggle after squiggle. Do you see all of the different ways he tried to write? What are you doing? I asked one day while we're sitting at the kitchen table. I am writing a story. I wish I could write a story. You can. It's easy. How? I know my letters, but I don't know many words. Write what you know. Every story starts with a single word, and every word starts with a single letter. Why don't you start there with a letter? So I get my crayons and pencils and a pad of paper, and I start to write. I start with a single letter. It's an easy letter. Do you see the letter on the page, boys and girls? That letter is I. I can be a word all by itself. And down in the bottom, you'll see it says, "That's me." Because when you use the letter I as a word, you're talking about yourself. That's a good beginning. Now what's going to happen? How should I know? It's your story. You're the boss. I wonder what she means when she says, "You're the boss." When you're writing a story and it's a fiction story, that means you get to make up what's going to happen next. Let's see what the little boy thinks about. What? I'm stuck. What happens in my story? I draw a circle. It's a soccer ball. Then I write another letter. It's you, I say to my sister. I'm playing soccer with you. Great! Where are we playing soccer? Maybe we're playing soccer on the beach, I suggest. We've never played soccer on the beach. Oh, so this is a fiction story because he's making up a story about a time he and his sister played soccer on the beach. So I do a bunch of dots for the sand on the beach. Then I make a bunch of V's, big V's and little V's, wave after wave in the ocean. Oh, so those little V shapes show the waves in the ocean. So I can see that he's playing soccer with his sister at the beach near the waves in the ocean. Now what? What do you mean? You have a beginning. Now we're in the middle of the story. Something else has to happen so we can get to the end. I'm stuck again. I start doodling. A, I doodle another V, but this time I doodle it upside down. Oh no! It's a shark! It's getting closer and closer. I flip the page to get away from the shark. Oh my goodness, why do you think he flipped the page so quickly? It seems like he may have scared himself a little bit with his own story. The next day, I bring my story to school. It's my turn for show and tell. That means I get to sit in Mrs. Singh's chair. Everyone else sits on the carpet ready to listen. You see, I'm sitting in Mrs. Singh's chair. Last night, I started to write a story. It's sort of squiggly, but here it goes. Once upon a time, there was a brother and sister, and they loved to play soccer. One day they had an idea. They decided to play soccer on the beach, so they went to the beach and played soccer. Then they noticed something coming toward them in the water. It was a shark, a real live shark. It was getting closer and closer, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And that's how far I got. That's wonderful, says Mrs. Singh. What happens next? What about the shark? What about the brother and sister? I don't know. I'm stuck. Class, does anyone have an idea? Jake waves his hand in the air. I do. Maybe one of them kicks the ball and hits the shark in the head. Then maybe the shark bites the ball with his big pointy shark teeth. Aaliyah offers another idea. What if the shark's name is Squiggles? What if Squiggles is a vampire shark? What if she invites the brother and sister to ride on her back? And what if they become a vampire family and live forever? Vampires can't swim, everyone knows that. Of course they can swim. Vampires can do anything. But it's my story, and I don't want vampires in my story. If I was writing a story, I'd have lots of vampires. Then you should write one. But I like yours. That night after dinner, I sit down beside my sister. Her face is buried in a book. That means she's reading her own book. I've been thinking about my story all day, and I still don't know how to end it. Remember, you're the author, she says, looking up. Do you remember what an author's job is, boys and girls? An author's job is to write the story, and since he's the author, he gets to choose. You can do whatever you want. So I get my pencil and I start with a bunch of stars. Then I add a few exclamation marks. My sister told me exclamation marks make things exciting. She's right, it is exciting. I add a couple of slanty lines. What's going on? Asks my sister, looking up from her book. It's nighttime. The stars are out. The shark has gone away, and we decide to take a walk on the beach. That's when we discover this giant rocket ship. Ooh, that sounds cool. Then what happens? We hear a voice. It's counting down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Not yet, I say, adding one more squiggle. Just before the rocket blasts off, we spy a Martian looking out through a window. The Martian invites us to climb aboard. That's a great ending. Now, I have an idea for my next story. It's going to be about a boy who climbs aboard a rocket ship and takes a trip to Mars. And I think I know just how to begin. Curious about kindergarten. What will I discover in kindergarten? This week, we'll be exploring new ideas. We'll be learning to read and write. We will also be sharing ideas.